Welcome back to Spitballin Cards. In today's video, we're talking all about the gimmicks that we're seeing in the hobby from PSA and from Topps, including the game-worn cards that were actually used, worn in someone's pocket during the game and more. We're also going to be discussing potentially a few other things, but that may take a lot of our time. So let's introduce who's here. My name is Scott. We have Ty, Jeff, and Chris. Phil is not here this week. Phil, if you're watching, hope you're doing well, and we'll see you soon. Okay, let's jump into this. Let me give some background about what's going on. I'm going to share my screen so we can discuss what is going on over at PSA. Show you what is going on. So PSA got Bobby Witt and Corbin Carroll to carry some of their cards, their rookie cards, in their pockets during a game. I believe it was the second game of the year. I believe Bobby Witt had 2 doubles or Corbin Carroll had 2 doubles. Either way, they did pretty good with the cards in their pocket. And now they had those players sign the cards and number them. There's 2 out of 7 for Witt here. Then we see 2 out of 6 here for Corbin Carroll and inscribe them. And this has gotten mixed reactions online. Some people like it, some people don't, but it makes me think about gimmicks. And when we say gimmicks, gimmicks have been around in cards. It's kind of been by Baseball Cardpedia. They're the ones who described them as gimmicks years back. Image variations are technically gimmicks because they are, not really on the base checklist a lot of the time. They are now, but back then they were kind of gimmicky is how they described it. But now gimmick is associated with everything that's not really a base card or an insert. So these are gimmicks. We also can say gimmicks such as in 2016, there was a sparkle on the card in Topps as a short print. There also was other cards like the Kevin Hart card this year was numbered to 52. I believe that was his height at 5'2". These are all gimmicks. So I want to talk about the rise of gimmicks in the sports card world and what we think. So very first question, let's talk about these 2 cards. And there's quite a few of them. What do you think of PSA doing this? This isn't a Topps release. This is a PSA release. What are your thoughts? Let's go with you, Chris. What do you think?
I thought on my mind. First, I want to say I saw quite a bit of anger about this on Instagram, and I always enjoy some Instagram anger. But I don't see anything to get furious about here. There's something about this that's kind of fun. I mean, they're doing this as a giveaway, from what I understand. So we're not being asked to spend thousands of dollars on this. People clamor over patches from cards and swatches from cards that quite likely have just been hanging in a Dick's Sporting Goods for a few months. Like this, we know this was in Corbin Carroll's pocket. It was in Bobby Witt Jr.'s pocket. I mean, do we know for sure it's a back pocket? I don't know. It could have been tucked in the front. There's a lot of potential, value here. I like the inscription. The whole thing is just kind of fun. I like that PSA is trying anything. Give us something new, but this doesn't make me mad. Jeff and I are going to, I think we're going to get sub in. If you sub cards to PSA, I think before June 30th, you're entered to win one of these 2 cards. And who knows? Maybe Jeff and I will win one of these. And maybe I'll talk Jeff into cracking it out so we could smell the card.
Well, yeah, I wonder the DNA results from the card. It kind of brings me back, and I don't know how many of you guys played Little League, but when I was in Little League, a big thing to do was to put players' cards in your hat or your pocket, players you liked. Like if you were fast, you'd have Ricky Henderson card in your hat, and over the years, or over the course of the season, these cards would get absolutely mangled. But it kind of brings me back and wish I had a couple of those because that might be fun to sub in just as a memory. Yeah, I'm not too mad at this either. It's not something I would seek out, so I wouldn't go and buy one of these, but I think it's a great idea for a giveaway. It's good for promotional reasons. And I, like Chris said, it's not costing us anything. So I don't know. I think am I going to buy one? No, but I wouldn't mind winning it.
Okay, Ty, what do you think?
I think if these were pack pulled, it'd be really interesting. Like if this is actually something Topps or Fnatic had done, this would be really interesting. The fact that PSA went out and did it and kind of got in on the game, I think is also pretty interesting. Here's a few things I like. I like that Witt and Carroll are both card guys. They both like cards. So they went to them and they're super into the hobby. And they're like, yeah, I want to, get these cards and be a part of this really cool thing that's never been done before. There's also an homage based on what Jeff's saying that kind of reminded me when I saw this video, which by the way was a really well done little video by PSA announcing this too, I thought. And it's like we used to play with our cards. And if you go back, the bicycle spokes and all of these things. And I have heard a lot of people in the hobby when asked what are the 3 cards in your collection you would never get rid of? Almost always one of them is a card like this that's from their childhood or that they were given by their dad or something that they would just never part with. It's low value. Maybe it's even a PSA 1 graded card. They got it graded and it's terrible, but they really like it. This to me, I thought it was kind of funny that people were getting like angry about this. Again, I like Chris said, it's kind of funny just to read those comments and people criticize anything or call it, completely stupid. I think it's kind of interesting. I wouldn't want to see something like this overdone, but the fact that it is a giveaway to me makes it like that's almost like perfect. Like, hey, here's something really novel, really unique that you're not going to get anywhere else, and we're going to give this away. And this is like, compare this to a sticker auto. These players handled the cards. They signed the actual card. They shoved the card in their pants. Like if Bobby Witt came up to you and pulled a $20 bill out of his pocket, and then signed it or so, you'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool. I just got like, signed money that this guy handled. Like this is like very, very much game worn, used. This is almost more game worn than the MLB debut patches that are just stuck on and pulled off. So I think it's interesting. And I like the novelty. I'm a fan of gimmicks, I guess. I like these kind of quirky things. And I'm never going to criticize companies for trying new things, even something like a taco fractor that I thought was kind of ridiculous. I'm not going to fault them for kind of going on a limb and doing stuff that's new.
Agreed. I also, looking at the slab that they have, that Corbin Carroll was slabbed in, I think it's kind of funny that they graded the card. They didn't just say authentic.
Yeah.
Like they gave it a 1.
Yeah.
They didn't grade the card. Something about that made me chuckle.
Yeah. And I just like to point out what Ty said, that they're both card guys, which makes it pretty cool. And I wonder if something like this is going to get more players interested, because I'm sure there are players asking, what are you doing? Why do you got those cards in your pocket? And they're seeing this in the news. So I feel like it's kind of a way to get more players involved or invested in the hobby.
I'm glad they were base cards also, and not like actually nice cards, which would have, I think that would have upset people.
That would have pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah.
It's their super fractor.
Because people got super mad that Wemby's Dynasty, 1 of 1 was like the inscribed alien and everything, and people got ticked that it was the 1 of 1 that he did that on. So, don't keep the nicer cards sacred, so to speak, and deface the base cards, I guess.
Do you think it's kind of interesting that PSA is doing it themselves? And I don't know. I don't think they're selling it. Right. It's as of right now, we know it's going to be given away. At least one of each of them. They've not
one of each of them.
Maybe like a charity. That'd be cool, right? If you did that,
would be cool.
You'd be mad about that. But they sell them. It kind of is like, that's interesting. You're leveraging your connections. I've heard in the past they won't grade when a player says 1 of 1 themselves. And so kind of hypocritical if they're saying 2 out of 7 is fine, right? Like that's something to look at. But if it's not for profit, that's totally cool.
Yeah. I'm
kind of sick of a lot of these gimmicks that aren't going to ever stick around or be super vital or important or anything. There's just so much. No, I'm not, because I think it's cool. But I have to say at least one negative. You guys were way too positive, potentially. But I think it's cool what PSA did. But it'll be interesting to see if it gets out of hand. And let's see Fanatics then picks this up and if it goes crazy. Because if it does,
I want to know what HGA is going to do next.
Yeah. I just don't want it to lose like the cool aspect about it, right? If it was like a marketing campaign, that's a really great idea. So any final thoughts on those?
Yeah, I would say I don't want to see this become like a thing that Topps puts in packs.
Yeah, me too.
Because once that starts happening, how would you ever, then the whole authentication process could become an absolute nightmare.
And that'd be even easier to fake because I could just wear them in my jeans pocket and then inscribe it myself really well. And
that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for somebody to be like a smart aleck and send in a bunch of like bent up cards and be like, I wore these in my pants when I did I don't know what.
Yeah, just in your defense, Scott, there have been some of these gimmicks that haven't been as well received, like the frozen fractors, the negative numbered fractors. So not all of them are winners. And I guess, I appreciate that they are making some choices, and eventually, or at some point in the past, even the idea of doing a black flagship refractor was a gimmick, or putting the first patch in a card. So some of them are winners and some of them stick around. And then I guess I'm not sure when a gimmick becomes an accepted part of the set, like you were saying with super short prints are now more of an accepted part than a gimmick. But so I appreciate them trying new things, but they're not all winners. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're pretty cool. So I don't think any of us have any issues with it, which is good. There is a lot of negativity online about it, though. I don't think we should pull the comments up because
No, it's not.
they're giving them away. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so the next gimmick I want to talk about, this one I actually do have more something against. And let me share it with you. This one is in the new Bowman product, is they're having all of the prospects like actually inscribed my first Bowman auto 001. They Tops probably wanted them just to put my first Bowman auto, and they had like in quotations to show what they should write. So they just did it literally. So it looks kind of even stupider, more stupid, I should say. I look stupider saying that, but either way, people are saying that this is more of a valuable desired card. This is online, so I want to have us talk about it than the red, because there's only one of these and there's 5 of the red. So what do you think, guys? This or the red? What are you taking?
I think I said this on something. I think Jeff and I talked about this on our Blabbing About Slabbing last Thursday. But if I pulled this, I would immediately sell it.
Yeah.
I would try to get someone to give me a premium, and then I would just buy a regular blue and enjoy whatever money I had left over.
You have to, right? Like, these players,
that doesn't do anything for me.
Nothing connected to them. They were told to write it. So it's not that cool to me. I know the Wemby first one was a big deal. So maybe they're just leaning on that. But for me, this is a total miss.
Yeah, well, I feel like it does hold a little bit more valuable or a little more value than a regular blue, because sure, there's more writing, so maybe they took more time with it, and maybe if it's somebody you really collect, you might seek it out. But in general, I can't see anywhere near the value of a red, for example. And I remember that poll going around that some people were trying to speculate that value is equivalent. So I'd say it's.
I'm going to see if I can find it. Keep going. Sorry.
Okay. So I was going to say, so yeah, I do feel like it has more value than a regular blue, but like Chris said, unless it's a player that I love or I'm related to or something that has some sort of meaning to me, I'm selling it, getting a regular blue and using that extra money for something else.
Okay.
I think there's some really interesting psychology to this because, I mean, everybody loses their mind over Bowman first and rookie cards being the first, but then to have like the first auto, I feel like that should fall under the same psychology. If everybody's so like obsessed with firsts of everything that happened, if this really is the first auto they made, to me, that's, I mean, I would hope so. I would hope so. I would hope
do they sign the blues first? Chris and I had this discussion on our show. We're like, do they sign the base cards first? Do they sign the high quality? We know they don't want to sign the red right away because they might screw it up. So it's blue where they decide we're going to start with the blue. So
I'm not going to fault anybody for any athlete who takes time to sign their name nicely. We were looking at Larry Walker autos right before we hit record. And I mean, when you see a nice auto, that to me is like what I care about. So I would take my first auto in the gimmicks as long as the athlete cares, because here's an example of what not to do, which is Alan Castro just writing A-C. And so when I see something like this makes me mad. The whole idea of athletes saying my first auto, but they actually have a nice looking auto and took time because they care enough, or maybe they had some kind of fanatics pressure. I don't know, to put extra details on the card. To me, it speaks to the athletes caring about what they're doing and actually wanting to have fun and be a part of it. If it came down to which one I'd rather have, though, the red or the blue with the inscription, I would take the red. Like,
okay, so let's see where we decide we'd rather have the my first. How about a gold?
No, gold all day.
Okay.
All day.
Ty?
I might go for the inscription in that case. That might be my line. That's my consideration line.
What else could we even compare it to? I guess the gold is it. Like, because anything higher is a green, it's a wave. You don't want any of that. How about a orange wave versus this? So non-true color orange, still out of 25. I don't know if that's even a thing in this year's set, but like at what point is it cooler?
That's a tough one. Yeah, orange wave versus blue inscription. That's interesting.
Lunar glow leafy fractor.
Grass.
Oh man.
Magenta butterfly fuchsia fractor.
My first butterfly fractor.
Well, let me just say, I've enjoyed it in the past when random inscriptions have shown up on cards that players have just done of their own volition, which I thought was pretty cool. This seems a little bit forced, which I mean, it probably was under some pressure. That does everybody have it? Do you know? Is everybody?
I don't know. I didn't.
I don't know that
actually,
everybody has it.
I'm not
Yeah, I
sure
don't-
everybody has it, but
And if it's all
it
on the
looks like a
blue or
lot
not,
of people do. And it's
Yeah.
blue on the first one. So if they were told to sign the blue one first and write this, that was the instruction, then they got the box of cards from Topps. That's cool, but some of them probably just pulled the cards out and started signing. So I can guarantee a lot of them aren't there first.
it reminds me a little bit of when I first got back into the hobby. I was joining some breaks, like Leaf Trinity breaks in 2017, 2018. And they had a lot of, it was all kids, all just drafted. And they'd have a place where they could write whatever they want. So people would write the team that they were drafted by, like, let's go Rockies, or can't wait to see you in the big leagues. There were a bunch of different things that they wrote, which was pretty cool because it was in their handwriting. Some of them were more unique than others. And I kind of like that aspect. So I do like the inscription part of it, but this just seems a little forced to me. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, they were told to write this, right? So like, is that cool if they're just told to write something so it's less sincere? Is that as cool as if it was spontaneous? Do you guys remember?
I think
it was Zach Veen, and it was the guy for the actual prospect for the Diamondbacks. They were really good friends. They actually signed each other's cards as them. So like it was not the right person's autograph. And then they like drew the state and they were touching if you had both cards. I'll see if I can find it real quick. Like, that's cool. That's like just two kids being spontaneous versus being told to write something.
Agreed. Yeah. It's some of these were more unique than others of those Trinity patches. It feels like Leaf probably gave them a list of 5 things. Here's things you can write. I think that was more because they didn't think that these players could think of a million different things to write, and maybe they couldn't. That's fair. But I like the random inscriptions. There's some people that collect. Speaking of inscription, there's the Bryce and Mike one.
See that? Yeah, that one's cool.
Yeah.
And if they were told to do it, I don't think it'd be on that card.
Are you sure? Are you sure, Scott? Are you sure it's not a gimmick? You don't like
it? It is a gimmick, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that is what it is, right?
We've got just for our listeners, there's a Bryce Harper Mike Trout dual auto, and then Bryce wrote Mike is really, really good, and Mike wrote Bryce is really, really good. So they each wrote. At first, I thought this one was a question mark, which would have been really funny.
Yes, I did too. The first time I saw it,
it would have been so funny if Bryce signed the card first, and then it got sent to Mike, and he just puts Bryce is really, really good question mark.
There have been a lot of players inscribing with Bible verses, for example. I've seen that on a lot of Bowman prospect cards over the years, and there's some people that just collect those. So yeah, I like it when players take the extra time, like Ty said, whether it's their actual signature, like Mariano Rivera or Randy Johnson, where you can tell they take time, and those guys sign a lot, so it's especially impressive. Or if they would add something, I don't mind that. I think it's pretty cool, but I don't think a premium is really necessary in this case.
Yeah, I agree. So speaking of gimmicks, let's discuss, are there any gimmicks that you do not care for? Like, has anything been released that you thought that was kind of dumb?
I mean, the sparkles that you mentioned before are stupid. Like, I don't get that at all. They're really hard to see. They're rare, and they're especially rare because I think most people never noticed that they even.
You can't tell, right?
Yeah, but did you say, Scott, that they had them in 2016?
It was
2015. I knew the 2011s.
Yeah, I know they're in like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, sometime around there. There's also there's kind of a random cool thing that there's a Joe Mauer, and I think I want to say it's 2014 with Snoopy. That's pretty rare, where there's just like a little Snoopy drawing in the background of the card.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I've seen that before. Yeah.
So
but the sparkles are the worst. In my opinion, I think the sparkles are the worst.
So here are 2 different cards. Find the difference. It's actually pretty easy on this one. This is the base. This is the super short print.
Yeah.
That's all it is right there.
Yeah. That's probably the best. I mean, Trout's is on his shoe, kind of at the bottom of the card.
Let's see if we can find the other one, because that is a very easy one to see. Like, is this a sparkle?
I don't see a sparkle anywhere in this.
That's sparkle
variation. Where's the
sparkle? But
you can't see it, so that's great. Oh yeah, it's up by his
right
hands.
there, right in his elbow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean,
so how are we supposed to see that?
Oh
well, so how many of those got thrown in the comments?
Were they turned around in the packs? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, is this Jason Worth? Yeah, here's his sparkle. That one's easier to see. You would just think it's a print error for a lot of people.
That looks like a print error.
If you notice, I mean, who's looking really close at Jason Worth cards anyway?
The first time I ever became aware of these was like 3 years ago. I was working the Market Movers support box, and some guy like sent in an email with the Trout, and was like, "Hey, I have this. Is this good?" And I didn't even know what he was talking. I like went back and forth, and then finally he's like, "It's like a sparkle," and showed me. And then I started researching. It was like, I think you have something.
There's one on somebody's helmet that's almost impossible to see.
Yeah, I know they're like player collectors. Some player collectors really love these. Like a Freddie
Big
Freeman out of
old
2014 popped up for sale, and I want to say it was like $99 about a year ago. And I looked at it for a minute, and it was gone.
It's a pretty fun game though. Trying to find him.
Yeah,
where's this guy's? Chris Tillman.
Tillman. I mean,
Shoulder.
groin.
It's hard to tell from here.
Sparkle. Where's the sparkle on Chris?
Right shoulder? No, I don't know.
There it is on his belt.
Oh, I did send on his groin, so it's close. Wow, that's really hard to see.
Yeah. So this is a gimmick that. Oh, here's the trout. No, that's a 20.
Yeah.
they also have no sparkle.
Sliding one. Yeah.
No sparkle. Oh, I see.
No sparkle. Yeah.
No
So
sparkle.
that's the other problem when you're trying to like source eBay sales into a data tool, and then they do no sparkle.
Yeah.
Yes. Just the base Lindor flagship has the word
Yeah.
no sparkle on it forever
Yeah.
now because of that.
Anybody who knows Topps Finest with the coding or no coding understands what a struggle it is to get that matched up correctly.
I'm sure.
Another gimmick we can discuss, Taco Fractor. I don't know if we already talked about it in depth. That was a true gimmick. Kind of cool. More of a
Jeff
gimmick.
mentioned the retro fractors or the frozen fractors, which to me were like that was the same time they released those as the taco fractors. So those came out together.
Yeah.
I thought having negatively serial numbered things was kind of weird.
I still do. I think they could just make it out of 5 and make them cool looking. I don't
Yeah.
like the negative aspect.
No, it's just dumb math. I mean, they just did. I don't think they wanted to like water down the reds. You know?
Yeah.
And if they're going to do frozen, if they're calling them frozen fractors, they needed to add some sort of like, I don't know, like some kind of ice type of look to them. Like
Yeah.
maybe ice up the image a little bit and make the
Yeah.
image look frozen. Like really go all in if you're going to do it.
Make them out
Put
of
like a
30.
frozen beard on them or something,
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
So-
put Elsa in the background. Yeah. It really
Find out.
Another
kinda-
gimmicky card is the holiday variations. I kind of
Yeah.
those ones.
Actually, I
those
liked
are pretty
those.
fun.
I really like those.
Yeah, those were
Yeah.
like retail blaster boxes. I mean, those are fine.
I like the Topps holiday. You have
Bats,
like-
a
you
candy
have, like-
cane.
Yeah,
you got
Aaron Judge with a
three
candy cane bat.
behind. Yeah.
Hardly any of them have any major value though.
They've
Do
got
any
like
of them-
jingle bells.
Do any of them actually have value?
I don't think so.
That's a good question. I think some of them, not really. No.
Yeah, the people that
Santa
list
hat, there's
the
a lot of
Acuna
Santa
as a
hat ones.
some people will list the Acuna as a bat down, and I'm sure occasionally buyers will
Yeah.
fall for it.
Yeah, I thought about because I have this Acuna frame in the background that's still empty for like a graded Acuna. I thought about putting that holiday one in there so it would look like the bet.
Yeah.
Cheap discount.
There you go.
Okay, so here's an example of an SSP labeled by PSA as an SSP PSA 10 of a top rookie for
Yeah.
$25.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's not great.
It surprises me how cheap that. I mean,
Wait.
that's barely worth slabbing, and it's an
Is it?
SSP
Oh my gosh, that's really cheap.
rookie with the cup.
I would have
Maybe
bought that.
these are something in the future. Maybe we're saying that these SSPs, there's only 30 of them. Maybe these actually become cool. They could.
I hate that they're calling them SSPs. I don't like that at all.
Well, if they
They're
are, they are.
bastardizing the beautiful.
Apparently,
two-letter
that's.
phrase
I mean,
that I
that's
like.
what the checklist says.
So
So
we found a gimmick you don't like, huh?
Yeah, I don't care for this.
Didn't
I don't
take-
like the use of the SSP phrase. It doesn't belong there.
This is your religion, Chris. SSPs.
Yeah, no. I don't like it.
I's Catholic. Chris is SSPs.
Yeah, if you want to do that, yeah. I mean, yeah, but this is like, I don't know. So this would be like the that SSP is some sort of offshoot. It's like, well, I can't say that. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to finish the joke. I'll offend somebody, so I'm just not going to say anything.
This is a
So-
family show.
I'm just trying to find one, like anything in Market Movers that's one of those that has any value. Looks like a J-Rod.
Oh boy, probably not recently. While you're looking up, I will say, like,
Wait a minute.
what
Oh,
kind
this
of
is
media-
this is gonna straight up trigger you, Chris.
Oh
I'm
god,
not
I'm
sure
already
this-
fairly triggered here, Ty.
Great.
This is you're gonna get really triggered about this then.
But I know image variations were called gimmicks when they debuted.
I
That's
think I
what, like-
found what's going to trigger him, Ty. I found what's going to
Yeah.
trigger him.
Here we go. How about a J-Rod SSSP?
Yeah. SSSP.
Down.
Wow.
I mean, that's just
SSSP,
terrible.
baby.
That's got to be a
crazy.
$10,000 card, right?
Yeah,
Teapot?
for the SSSP, you've got it at clean $231 last August.
Guys, there are a few multi-$100 sales though of these. I found the Ohtani SSSP, maybe it's just the SP from 2019 with the Rookie Cup, went for $223 in auction.
All right. Well,
I mean,
US dollars?
US dollars. Can I steal the screen from you, Ty?
yeah, sure, go ahead.
Bahamian dollars?
So,
yeah, but does that? I mean,
where's the original listing? I hate when they do this.
There's a Volpe.
So here's the Trout SSSP, went for $154 on auction. It's on a hockey rink, or that's not the ice skating rink, I should say. But here's the Ohtani. Look at this. Just this snowball. It's on a snowball. $223.
I
This
love that.
it has a snowman in the back.
Well, maybe you found an Ohtani you would buy.
I like
Guys,
Christmas. I think I just miss the snow a little bit sometimes.
These are my Ohtani cards I'm buying. Are the SSSP underrated set.
I'm gonna buy $5,000 worth of Topps Holiday SS.
I mean, these are the exception that prove the rule, right? Though, I mean, this is like the rarest card, the rarest of the rare you can pull, and it's a $200 card. What are the odds of pulling one of those?
They're pretty tough to hit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, and they're still
still not selling for anything.
So speaking of these cards, a few years back when these were out, I don't buy wax really at all anymore, just because I always feel bad after. But I did pull the Luis Robert Holiday SSP. I was so excited from this set. Let me see if I can find it. It's in a binder next to me right here. Oh, mine was the SSP. It had the belt too, right here, and the candy cane and the belt. So I have this card. And at one time it was worth like $50. Now it's probably worth a couple dollars.
I'd like to state for the record that if Topps wants to gift us Topps holiday boxes to open, we will take them.
Oh yeah,
we will open them.
Yeah, that'd be kind of a fun live rip.
I'm fishing for sponsorship wax.
Why doesn't Topps do that? Pokemon does it. They give all of the people online boxes to open to spread the word. I wonder why Topps has never gotten.
Maybe that's why they're the biggest company in the world, biggest card company in the world.
But I can see why they wouldn't do it. They'll say the breaker. Well, you gave so and so the
loaded boxes.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
I don't know where we fall in that loaded box hierarchy. We're probably like the unloaded box is coming to us.
I mean, it doesn't get less loaded than a Topps Holiday like retail blaster box, does it? I mean,
until we pull the metallic snowflake Julio Rodriguez rookie or something, 101.
$30.
So Stadium Club also has some gimmicks, which are kind of I don't know. I have mixed emotions about them because there's some lineage to them, but I'll just bump the zoom up here. So I'm showing the checklist, and they've got the members only, which obviously goes back to the 90s, early 90s. One per case. Photographer's proof, which is 1 in 2 cases. So neither of these are serial numbered. And then the first day issue, which is a print run of 10, but they're not serial numbered either. And these are very cheap for like how rare they are. We don't really know how many there are. I guess we could probably back into the actual print run of each of these, but I like to occasionally pick these up, like either a members only or photographer's proof, or even a first day issue. These will sell for dirt cheap for only having 10 copies of some of the cool base images, because they can be pretty affordable, and then it's more rare and it's not just a base card.
So Ty, when you're looking at go ahead.
Sorry, Jeff. Yeah, they're just 3 different stamps on the card. Like the image isn't the card's the same.
Yeah.
There's no like shimmer. There's no there's just a different stamp. I ripped some retail with my dad, and we actually pulled a first day issue of the Griffey card, and I put it up on eBay, and it sold for like $50. I was pretty surprised.
50? That's it?
Yeah.
I would think with player collectors, they're a hit. Ty, I was just wondering, when you're looking at that list, what separates in your mind, the gimmicks from the parallels, or what separates the gimmicks from the, I don't know, non-gimmicks, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe these just strike me as gimmicky. I mean, we were talking about this earlier, where a gimmick, like Topps called the image variations gimmicks for a while. I would also say like in Heritage that the the color swaps and things, those are like gimmicks.
Yeah, I would agree.
There's also a Trout air card with the wrong player, or is that someone on the Angels a couple years back? They put the back on
Yeah,
the
the Trout was with the ball boy is on a Trout card. It's sort of a callback to an actual 1969 card where they put a ball boy on. They accidentally photographed the wrong person.
So I actually pulled I thought I had it sitting here. I guess not. I thought I had it. What? It was here. Well,
I mean, it seems to be like the line between the gimmicks and what's part of a set is getting blurred now, especially with all the retail stuff that Topps is putting in. We had all those Halloween stuff, those Halloween parallels. That's gimmicky. Easter, and Chris and I were just finding out about
Mike looks different in this card.
Mike looks a little different.
We're finding out about the Series 2 parallels. You've got the hot dog parallel and all these special July 4th parallels.
Yeah, we were talking about
to me. Is
that like where the lines get blurred? Like when does something move from being a gimmick to like part of the hobby, like formally? Like image variations, if they used to be called gimmicks, is there a point in the future at which autograph inscriptions are like normalized, like people start to come to expect that as part of like when they're getting autos, where there's going to be something unique and not just the player's name. Like it's interesting to think about, because there was definitely a time when the image variations were new, they were novel, and now it's like we look forward to them and we threaten to burn down buildings if they don't include them, like we thought they were going to not do this year. So
I was lighting torches. I was ready to march.
You guys were real upset. I remember that. When was the first image variation? Was it 2012 in the Topps Chrome? Is that when it was? There also was 2012 in Topps. They had image variations because that's the only year Billy had.
That varies too, depending on what your definition is. Because remember, we were talking about those ones in the late 2000s that had players in the background. Those Yankees cards with
with George Bush.
I think the first like real true image variations are in 09. I think Sabathia has like one of the first. He might be the first active player with an image variation after the Yankees signed him. And then 2010, Jeff, there are all those pie in the face ones like Strasburg.
That's right. Yeah. Yes, you're right. There are other like Topps Finest. They have different variations and things, but those are like more of an established. This is the set than what these are. But yeah, very interesting. It's going to be interesting how like 20 years from now, so much has changed since the year 2004. So much has changed. Rookies exist, more parallels exist. I think the first one of one in Topps Chrome was 2004, and it was in Topps Chrome Update or Traded at the time. So we're going to see in 2044, we'll visit this episode and we'll wow, we had no idea what was going to happen. So
some of these
reminiscing the first taco fractors.
Remember those taco fractors? Those are going to be every player's most desired card.
Normalized, maybe a hit by then.
Yeah, you never know.
Free tacos.
All right. So I have one more thing I want to discuss. Any final thoughts on gimmicks before we jump to the next topic? If we do, that's totally fine. Ooh, look at this cool card that popped up on my Instagram algorithm. Give me 1 second. Look at this. This is the first card that popped up.
We need to get back to shouting more people out on Instagram.
Shout out Baseball Card Addict for this super cool Rivera. What is this?
Yes.
This is out of 25 that year.
Yeah, that guy's got some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Shout out Drummond Card Collector for being active in his stories.
This guy's collection stinks. Just kidding. Right. He has a wonderful collection.
I tried to make sure that Jose Canseco's lips made my picture. When I was cropping that, I had to make sure that they were in there. Because once you start looking at them, they're like Acuna's eyes, Jeff, in that Bowman card. They draw you in.
In the anime?
Yeah. Oh, Burbank had. I was at the Burbank card shop today. Random fact. I try to get there at least every other week. But they had one of the Bowman anime cards, so I got to see it in person, and I kind of held it. They look okay. It was Mike Trout. They wanted $240 for it.
Yeah, they have
how much?
$240. I did not buy it, but I kind of like them. I'm not gonna lie.
Wait a few months, right? I remember what were they? They were the home field advantage cards. Those were really hot out of the gate, and then they became $5 cards. These won't be that way, I don't think.
I just bought an Acuna home field advantage.
How much did you pay?
Like $19.
Yeah,
there you go.
Nice. Cheap.
A great player.
Yeah.
So, okay. So this is the next thing I want to talk. That was not sarcasm, Chris.
Hey. That's all right.
I saw your smirk down there.
He's immune to your hatred.
I
As
don't
am I.
hate him.
Oh, sure, of course not. No, not at all. Not at all.
Maybe I'm taking my Chris hatred out on Acuna because I know you.
That's more likely.
That's
Well,
more
I don't know.
likely.
They're probably both likely.
Okay, so this is the next thing I want to discuss with you. I saw this today. It's a very interesting conversation. So what you're seeing is you are seeing a Joe Mauer gold Bowman Chrome autograph and this is his rookie Bowman Chrome autograph. It's like one of his few rookie cards because it was different than it is now, and I'll explain. And then you have a Jokic. This is the blue out of 199 Ty, I believe, out of 199 PSA 10. Both cards same day sold for $9,000. So let me frame why each of these cards sold for $9,000, and we'll debate on which one you'd rather have.
Yep.
First one, Jokic. It's his it's not flagship technically, but it's basically flagship, right? For Prism basketball.
Yeah, people do refer to Prism as flagship. Yeah.
I know some people debate that, but like, what else would it be? Don Russ? No. So it's Prism basketball. It's a great color match. It's a PSA 10. He's won his third MVP. He's in the postseason right now. So there's not much to really explain. That's why that card's worth a lot. The Joe Mauer, on the other hand, is very unique because this is his lowest, not numbered, because they actually weren't numbered yet at this time. This is the gold. It's limited to 50, and it probably is the highest graded, and it's a true rookie because back in the day, this was considered a true rookie card until the rookie card logo was introduced in 2006. So this is arguably the best Joe Mauer card in existence. Right? This is like the premier Joe Mauer card. Doesn't get any better than this. Debate, like, depending on pop reports. There's a PSA 10 to be the second best. And it's a good autograph. So with those both being framed that way, which would you rather have and why? I'll go with you first, Ty. You're the most.
I'd rather, first of all, let me say this. Joe Mauer is actually one of my favorite baseball players ever. And I'm a Tigers fan, but I always liked Mauer and Morneau. And a lot of the Twins players during that era. Johan Santana and others. But if I were going to pick one of these cards for an investment purpose, I would pick the Jokic. He's doing things no NBA player has ever done, like many things. And there's a bit of almost like cognitive dissonance amongst basketball fans about how good he is. And we're talking about this basically 2 years, let's say 2 years removed from people more or less unanimously saying that Giannis had become the best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden that was like right during the season that Jokic wins, or after he won his first MVP, people were still saying, well, I'd rather have Giannis. And now flash forward a few years to this season, and Jokic won his first championship last year. I think it was the first the Nuggets had ever won. I might be wrong about that. And they were favorites going into this year. They just tied it up 2-2 with the Wolves after being down 0-2. And this guy is so consistent, so dominant in every aspect of offense, especially. He's arguably the best passer in the NBA as a big man. I just think he has a chance to be one of truly the all-time greatest NBA players in history, to where people are going to be mentioned. They already are mentioning him amongst names like, Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal, et cetera, et cetera. So he's in that conversation. Joe Mauer is not in that conversation. Yes, Joe Mauer is a Hall of Famer, but he's not in the conversation for one of the 10 greatest baseball players of all time, or even one of the top 50, honestly.
He might not be, I think he is, but you could argue not even the top 10 catchers all the time.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to debate. Like I'd take Pudge Rodriguez over him. There's a lot of guys I would take probably over him. And I really like Mauer. So in spite of it being his best card, in spite of how much I like Joe Mauer, I would take the Jokic. Plus I am really a sucker for color match cards. So.
It's now just okay. I'll ask this question after. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, there was a lot to digest there. I appreciate Ty's point of view. I think this is a good comparison because both of these guys, while being either at the top of their sport or at the top of their position, aren't the most exciting guys. And I think that's what drags Jokic's value down a little bit. Doesn't have the same kind of personality. The most exciting thing about him is his crazy brothers that always get in fights whenever they're around, whether they're in the stands or he's at home.
It's true.
So I think that's going to hold down at least a little bit his potential ceiling. But I do like the aspect of him not having a completed resume. So for Mauer, to me, now that he made the Hall of Fame, like this is the pinnacle. This is the peak of his interest, his success, or not success, but his interest in amongst hobbyists. And I feel like it can't go anywhere. So I'm with Ty. I was a little bit I couldn't decide at first, but I'm with Ty that I would go with the Jokic just because I feel like he still has room to grow. I don't think it's going to be an all-time type card, but I feel like you could get a better return on it. I'm also wondering why the Mauer has just got that single grade for one of the best cards, why they went with the BGS single grade.
It's on the back. It was graded so long ago. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, that even has the old Beckett logo on it.
By the way, for people who would make the argument that getting a Hall of Fame induction or nomination doesn't impact your cards, this card, the last sale of this card in a PSA 10, no auto grade, did 4,900, and that was the second most expensive Mauer card of all time. So this is 2 years later, and all of a sudden this card's a $9,000 card. So I mean, I think there's something to that too, just to point out.
And this card was just sitting there, and there is a Twins fan who's like, Joe Mauer's my favorite player of all time. I can own one of his best cards. That's why they pulled the trigger. And if that's going to stay in their collection forever, good on them, right? What do you think, Chris, between these two? I know you're not as big of a basketball fan, but what are your thoughts?
So Jokic plays the basketball. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know anything about Prism or basketball or like romance, but how many parallels exist of this Prism card that are numbered to less than what this blue is numbered to?
Let me get that for you real quickly. I can get it.
You want to do it? I was going to pull.
Yeah, I'll grab it. It's not a lot in 2015.
But there's still a lot of parallels that are sought after. Like there's still a lot of not numbered.
I'm just curious. I don't know anything about the set. So like,
yes, So there was light blue to 199. Then there's purple to 99, orange to 65. There's a mojo to 25, gold to 10, and a black 1 of 1. And then there's also a white sparkle that were not numbered, but typically somewhere probably that year around 15 to 20 print run. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parallels more rare than this, and about a total of 250 cards.
Did you say the Ruby Wave out of 350? I know it's higher, but there's another.
That one's
they're numbered.
Yeah, there are other parallels that are higher serial numbered for sure.
Yeah.
But
Right. Yeah. I mean, personally, I would take the Mauer because I don't know anything about this other guy. I have no vested interest in anything Denver or basketball related. But how did Panini come up with those numbers? Like, are they just rolling dice? Like out of 65, out of
at this point, ask any questions about how Panini makes these decisions.
They're still rolling the dice, Chris. Yeah. Every day, you never know what you're going to get with them.
So it is cool to have like Joe Mauer's arguably, one of his very, very best cards.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, generally, I would say buy the better player is what I would usually say. So I can't possibly compare these two players because I don't know anything about one of them. But I guess he has 3 MVPs. Is that right?
He just won his third. Yep.
He just won his third in 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think,
and honestly, he should have won last year.
Yeah, last year was a joke. He didn't win it, in my opinion.
Last year Embiid won, it was tight, but I thought it should have been Jokic again.
I still think you should get more credit playing both ends of the court, which Jokic doesn't really do. So
he's surprisingly defense neutral. People think he sucks. He's not a good defender, but he's not a liability like some people think he is.
No, I don't think he's a liability, but I think players that do play both ends of the court should get a little bit more.
Yeah, that's why I like Giannis.
Yeah, agreed.
There's 2 Giannis fans in this video right now, Ty and Jeff. Jeff has a lot of
best seasons of all time. The only person to average over 30 points a game, shooting over 60% from the field, and he was an elite defender. So he finished 4th in the MVP, but we got my vote.
Cool. Well, in my opinion, I'm just worried about the Jokic's card short term. I don't know about long term. Forgive me. I like he's hyped up. He just won his 3rd MVP in 4 years. He won the championship last year. He's in the playoffs doing well.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's a lot of downside for that card too.
Yeah.
What if that Mauer was a Goldschmidt?
That's what I was thinking.
Actually,
Very similar to that conversation.
Well, the thing with it's such a different situation because obviously the Goldschmidt has a out of 5 and a 1 of 1. This is like if this was Goldschmidt Superfractor, then yeah, he's easy.
But didn't you say this was Mauer's best card?
You know, I would say it's a different situation. Like I would not take a Goldschmidt in this situation.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, if like the Goldschmidt red or the Doncic. Am I saying it right? I don't know.
Goldschmidt red, easy peasy for me. Yeah, no, but in this situation, the Mauer makes more sense in my collection. If I had the Jokic card, I'd just sell it. So to me, I'd rather have the Mauer or just $9,000. Either one.
Yeah, the $9,000 would be great.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys.
So many hobby boxes of 2024 Bowman. Oh man,
you could get 40% of your money back
on a good day. On a good day.
Well, anything you guys want to add before we wrap this episode up?
Nope.
Okay. Well, thank you for watching. Thanks for supporting us. We appreciate it. If you ever want to hear a topic, feel free to leave it in the comments below. We always want to talk about what you want to hear. So feel free, and we will see you in the next video.